I guess so. I don't know.
I
don't know.
can cut up tomatoes and peppers.
I do not. I'm not. You're not going to trap me into this. Sorry. Okay. Here we go. Welcome to Living Like a Local Live. Here we go. So it is 4:00 El Salvador time, and this week on live we are going to be talking all about Berlin, El Salvador, which is kind of like Bitcoin Berlin. That's what they call it. We're going to talk about adopting Bitcoin that's happening this weekend, and we're also going to be talking about the relocation tours that Living Like a Local host. We're talking about this stuff because this week is the big week, and there are lots and lots and lots, tons of foreigners in El Salvador. It's actually kind of hard to find an Airbnb this week because there are so many people coming in for this big weekend of adopting Bitcoin. So first things first is I am Jenny Adi. Hi, nice to meet you. La Gringa Salvadoreña, and I work for Living Like a Local, and we do relocation tours for people that are thinking about moving to El Salvador because visiting is very different from living here. So we've created these relocation tours in order to help people really kind of dive in and know for sure if El Salvador was right for them, instead of sitting around for like months and stuff, wondering and waiting and watching more and more videos on YouTube. You know what? Just get her done. Come on, come with us, get your boots on the ground. You'll meet expats that already live here. Plus, you'll get to see all the different angles and sides of El Salvador. We do 2 days in the city, 2 days in the mountains, 2 days down at the beach. And you'll meet every single day. You'll meet with expats that are already there in El Salvador. Plus, every night you'll meet with our partners that already we already have a relationship with them, so we know that they are dependable, that they can speak English, and that they can show up and be there for you and give you reliable service, whether that be medical, whether that be legal, whether that be shipping and shopping and finding the things you need. And that's what we do. So, for example, this last week, usually we have these big group tours, and that's kind of a deep dive into getting to know El Salvador culture. And after you go through a group tour, after that, most of our clients know with 90% of surety after our 1 week group tour, they know, yes, El Salvador is for me, or no, El Salvador is not for me. And that's the most important part, because El Salvador is not for everybody. Let's get real. It's not. And so it may be for you, you may love it, or may not be for you. But the most important part is that you really know and you stop wasting time. After the group tour, most of our clients will then come back a second time and do private hosting, where we help them get it done. We help them find a place to rent for, say, 6 months so they can try things out. We help them find a car, because getting a car in El Salvador it's not like the States. It's a whole different ballpark, honey. So unless you're just going to buy a straight one, paying cash from the dealer, yeah, and even one from the dealer is going to be more expensive than what you would pay from one from the dealer in the US. So, I mean, unless you're going that route, if you're going any other route, getting a car, either importing your car or buying a used car, you are really going to need help. Highly, highly advised you get help. So then our clients come back, they get private hosting to pinpoint and get exactly what they need. For doing a little trial period, and they start to do their residency and their immigration with our legal department. And then after that, once the residency is in place, then our clients come along and join us, and they're pretty happy with our service. And so then they become some of the people that you will meet as new people come to visit El Salvador. And they will share some of their experiences with you as you come on your group tour. So, but this week we're talking about adopting Bitcoin, because I just finished. Oh, hi, Iker. Hola, ¿cómo está? I just finished a tour in El Salvador where we had some clients, and on this group tour, we went, first of all, we went to Berlin. And if you don't know, El Salvador is, if you're going to the eastern side of El Salvador, it's pretty much all really hot. San Miguel is hot, hot. Unless you're going up the mountains of Morazan, up there, I mean, it's probably a little bit cooler up there. But if not, if you're doing the eastern side, it's hot, except for Berlin. Berlin's like this really odd kind of little pueblito that has a whole lot of foreigners and expats in there. Because they started, after Bitcoin Beach started in El Zonte and was so successful, some kids and some people from Berlin, and Berlin is kind of known as a little bit of a rebellious town, apparently. They took a lot of pride in saying, and they take a lot of pride in saying that, you know, like, the gangs never had a place in Berlin because they kicked them out. Like, the Berlin natives they're kind of like hardcore kind of rebellious ones, you could say. And so they started adopting, and they kind of tried to start their own circular economy with Bitcoin after they saw the success of Bitcoin Beach. And it's nice and cool because Berlin and Alegria are up high on a volcano, and so you have this constant breeze that comes up and higher altitude, so it's very pleasant. And while we were there on our tour, oh my goodness, we saw it's a very kind of cosmopolitan city it's become, even though it's a little pueblito. While we were there, we met Pierre, we met with so many different expats that are there. Quentin, I think is from Canada. If I get this right, I might get it wrong. We met another man who was from Idaho via Nicaragua. And we met another man, Dave. I can't think of where Dave was from. I think he was from the UK because he had an accent. And then we met Gail, who I think she was from Australia, possibly. But via Florida. She said she had come from Florida down there, and she's starting, and Gail, as an expat there in Berlin, she was starting up a business of, she had kind of like an Airbnb, but retreat kind of business, because she does gourmet food, and she was going to do massages and kind of have like retreat packages in the place that she was building out. And so, yeah, and then we met Tim. Tim is pretty famous among the Bitcoiners, and he's a hoot, and he does his own cold pressed juices, and he helped a lot of the people on the group. They did their first Bitcoin transactions, peer-to-peer Bitcoin transactions, buying cold pressed juices from Tim. So we met at least 8 different foreigners from all over the world. And of course, Charlie's there. He wasn't there the day we visited, but I mean, that's Charlie's home base. Nikki and James are there. They're Bitcoin YouTubers. They're from New Zealand. So Berlin is definitely a very cosmopolitan kind of international city. And I'd say the closest thing to, if you're looking for an expat bubble, I think the closest thing would probably be Berlin, as far as having a whole bunch of expats in a tiny little area. But these guys are kind of diehard Bitcoiners, so don't come in there with any other kind of coins because yeah, you might not get the best reception. But Berlin is a beautiful place, and on the 23rd, so this weekend, the 15th and 16th, is adopting Bitcoin, and that is in San Sal. I'll talk about that in a minute. But on the 23rd in Berlin, they're having the Berlin Bitcoin Festival, because down in El Salvador, you can have a festival pretty much anytime you put it together and organize it. They have festivals all the time. It's one of the things I love about El Salvador. You don't have to necessarily wait for a holiday. You can create your own festival. So they have created a Bitcoin Berlin Festival for the 23rd. And that is when when my next group tour starts. It is over Thanksgiving week, so it's the 23rd of November through the 30th of November. So if you're seriously thinking about El Salvador, come on down and let's get it done. You've already got the time off of work either way. That's kind of why I put it that week. Come on down and we'll dive you in. We'll take you around so you can see the best places in El Salvador and see if it's really right for you. And we'll kick it off with the Berlin Bitcoin Conference. Okay, so that's Berlin. That's some of the things that we did while we were in Berlin. Met lots of cool expats. Ate great food, went to some of the best restaurants there. And yeah, it was just fun. Berlin is just really fun. And it is definitely a melting pot. It has about every denomination you can imagine. Right off of the square, there's a Jewish synagogue, and behind that, there's a Mormon church. And then in front of the square, there's the big Catholic church. It's just very much a melting pot. Okay, so back from Berlin and from the tour that we did last week to this weekend, Adopting Bitcoin. If you are coming down to El Salvador for this week, there are so many events going on for people coming for the Adopting Bitcoin conference. Let me give you a little bit of a heads up. La Boricua, hi, our construction is almost done within a year. We will be there and hopefully meet you in person. Sounds awesome. By the way, your hair looks great. Thanks. I'm not a fan. I did this. My husband took me to the ballet for Don Quixote at the National Theater on Friday, and so he gave me a spa day. So yeah, went through and straightened my hair. Thanks. I don't like it. I like my curls. I like my rizos, but thanks anyway. Okay. Next. Adopting Bitcoin. Okay, so for Adopting Bitcoin, so you know it's Friday and Saturday, and it's kind of at an odd place, but I'll explain to you why. So Kiki and James, they organize Bitcoin Farmers Market, and they're also in charge of organizing Adopting Bitcoin. Well, they're part of the group that's organizing Adopting Bitcoin. And the problem is, in El Salvador, none of the hotels and convention centers have more than 300 rooms. And they're honestly expecting close to 1,200 people to come to the Adopting Bitcoin conference. So that creates a problem. The past 2 years they've had it at the Hilton, but the Hilton's been like completely booked out. So what they're planning to do, since there's nowhere they can have it where it really has enough hotel rooms, what they're planning to do, they're having it south of the city at a place called Salamanca, and it's just kind of this event. It's this event venue, and that's where they're going to have it. So in order to make things work for you, they are having shuttles that are going to be running from the Hilton, from the Hilton that's like on the northern side of like San Benito, right? Up by the financial center. And also from the Sheraton that's down by like Zona Rosa. And they're gonna have a shuttle pickup at Gran Via. Why? Because the Hilton has close to 300 rooms. The Sheraton has 200 plus rooms. And then the Gran Via, you have the Hyatt, and you have the Marriott, and you have Fairfield Inn. So you have those three hotels too. My personal recommendation though is those places are close to $200 a night. So what I've done for some of my clients, and what my recommendation to you is get an Airbnb that's just nearby, and then just walk. I have 2 clients coming down this weekend. One is for hosting. He's actually looking to change and move to El Salvador because he is a regional manager over Latam for his company that's a US-based company. And he's like, well, instead of living in Miami, why don't I live in El Salvador? And then I can fly to Colombia, I can fly to the Caribbean, fly to Latin America from El Salvador instead of, have to pay the crazy prices of Miami. So he's coming down, and I've already got him connected with a whole bunch of prospects for him to go and meet with possible company connections, so he can see if it's viable and kind of do a double dip, make it a business trip and check out El Salvador at the same time to get some new clients in El Salvador. And so I used my contacts and called around and chalked him up with lots of little appointments with people that might need his services down in El Salvador, and there you go. So that's one client that's coming down for hosting beforehand. And then the other client's coming for medical hosting. So, I mean, this client's super smart. She's like, well, I want to go to Adopting Bitcoin, but I also need to get some dental stuff done. And, you know, why not kill two birds with one stone? So she is coming down. So it's actually two of them. It's a woman and her son is coming down, and they're coming down for a week. She's gonna get 2 implants done on her teeth, and she's gonna go to the Adopting Bitcoin conference after her teeth are done, and then they're gonna fly back next Sunday. And I put that whole package together of 3 days, 3 days of meals, 7 days of lodging, Adopting Bitcoin. So let me see. We got the lodging. We got 3 days of meals because she's like, I just had dental work done. I don't want to have to worry about cooking or going out and not being able to eat things because my mouth is sore. So we did 3 days of meals that that our hosts are going to work out and bring to them. And then we've got 2 tickets to Adopting Bitcoin. And then we've got 4 days of a driver. 4 days of, well, it's not Uber, it's our driver, of our driver taking them around. So our driver is going to pick them up from the airport, going to take them to their dental appointment, take her home from her dental appointment. I even included the medicine that she's going to need. That's included in the price too for post-surgery. So the driver's gonna get that medicine for her while she's in surgery, so that when she's out of surgery, the driver can take her straight home. She doesn't have to run around or get anything else, and she can just relax and recoup. And yep, and then our driver's gonna take her for a follow-up appointment at the end of the week, and then take her back to the airport. And I made sure I got her a place that is right next to that bus stop for the Adopting Bitcoin conference. And she got all of that for $3,200. That includes 2 implants. And if you look in Miami, just to get 2 implants in Miami, you are looking at a minimum of like $7,000 just for the implants. That's not for all the other things. So, yep, $3,200 for all of that in our medical package. So again, if you are thinking to come out to El Salvador and you want to get some stuff done, whether it's, I don't know, you want to take your skin tags off, you want to get some moles removed, anything that your insurance won't typically pay for and kind of costs a lot of money, hit us up. We can put together something so that you can knock all that stuff out in one quick trip. Let's see. Hope we get a chance to meet while we are down there. Oh, you're great. Karen, you're going to be there the 24th through the 4th. That's awesome. I'm sure we will. Because I come in on the 23rd to start my tour on November 23rd through the 30th. So Karen, I am sure I will prioritize and make sure that we meet up while you are down there. It's going to be exciting and really fun time. I'm so glad you finally booked it and got it done. Way to go, girl. Anyway, so the rest of Adopting Bitcoin. So once you have your lodging, and again, if you don't want to deal with this and coordinating everything, just call us. Bessie is the person you will talk to. She's the girl that knows it all. She's our assistant. She will take in all your info, all your information, all your particulars about what you're looking for and what you want to put together. And she'll put a package together for you and send it back to you with everything you want to make sure you get done while you're in El Salvador. Let's see. Oh, awesome, Karen. So Yeah, so adopting Bitcoin is Friday. I think it starts around 8 a.m. And as I said before, they will have shuttles going into town, into San Salvador. So make sure you get an Airbnb or something through Booking or a hostel or whatever that is close to one of those 3 points, because there are no hotels down by the venue. So unless you're renting a car and you're gonna drive down there, I don't think there's any other like public buses that go by there, because it's not in a very common place, you could say. So you either have to have a car that takes you there, or you can take Uber, or you can get on one of the buses that are coming from one of those 3 places. Again, it's the Hilton by the World Financial Center, the Sheraton in Zona Rosa, or by Gran Via. And I'm not exactly sure. I'm pretty sure you'll get all that information about the bus schedule when you check in for the conference on Friday, about when the buses are picking up, and also in your emails once you sign up for Adopting Bitcoin. Let's see. Now, during the conference, they're going to have lots of really dynamic speakers, lots of people talking about how Bitcoin has grown. I don't know if you guys have heard, but now Suriname is really heavily looking into becoming one of the next countries to adopt Bitcoin as their currency, as an accepted currency in their country. And yeah, it's really taking hold and growing a lot. So yeah, so that's why this plus, okay. Do we need to mention that 3 years ago, when I moved to El Salvador, it was in the 20s, right? $20,000 for a Bitcoin. It is currently like up at 72. That is crazy return for 3 years to go from the 20s to the 70s. So Bitcoin is really hot, and it's just getting hotter. And that's why there's going to be around 1,200 people that are planned to be at the conference. If you guys have any questions about adopting Bitcoin, you can put them down in the chat. And if I know the answer, I'll tell you. So let's see. Now, adopting Bitcoin also, it's Friday, and then they usually you guys, can you please take that out, your conversation out of the room? Thank you. Okay, then Friday night, they usually have mixers, they have kind of like parties, and then Saturday it goes again. It's wild. Last year, when I went, they had a guy that had created this amazing like Bitcoin rap, and they had another guy that had created a movie about El Salvador and the transformation that is going through. It's yeah, it's not your typical convention. It's definitely not formal by any way, shape, or form. It's you can totally come in casual. In fact, I'd say most people are in casual dress. Only the presenters are maybe business casual. And come by the Expo Center, because also living like a local, we will have a booth in the as part of the I think it's like the, when a conference is going to do an expo center and they have different people that have booths. Well, we'll be one of the first booths in there, and you can meet Cesar. He is the owner of the company, and my husband. And you'll meet Bessie, our assistant, and they can help you with any doubts, any questions you have. Because yeah, El Salvador it's gorgeous, it's wonderful, it's in transformation, but it's a little bit of a Wild West. So it really, really helps if you have somebody that's a local that can kind of hold your hand through the process. And honestly, when you're thinking about moving to El Salvador, you think, oh, well, but I need a realtor, and I need a lawyer, and I need a this, and I need a that. And honestly, down here, there isn't really realtors. Like, there isn't like a national accredited formed thing. Anybody could technically sell something. So the only thing you really need when you come to El Salvador is you need a good host. If you can get a good host that's a realtor, which is what my husband does sometimes, that's the best. Because the lawyer is going to keep you from getting scammed. He's going to keep you from doing any bad deals, and he's going to keep you knowing what the laws are and what they're not, so you don't get stuck in anything that you don't want to. In fact, with living like a local, about half, I'd say half of the business are new people, new clients that are coming to El Salvador, and the other half of the business are expats that were getting out of trouble because they came, they jumped, they got in there, and they didn't necessarily understand the culture, they didn't necessarily understand the laws, they assumed, and we all know how to spell assume, things were like they were back home. And if they got scammed, they could sue people and get their money back. El Salvador is not a tort, crazy law kind of country. You can't just say when something's not the way you like it, oh, I'm just gonna sue, because yeah, you're gonna lose. They kind of lean more towards common sense in El Salvador. So that's why it really pays to have a good lawyer like my husband that can sit there and take you around and tell you stuff that's what investments are gonna fly and what investments you don't really know what you're getting into. So I think that's about it. Okay, if you guys have any other questions, pop them down below about Berlin, about adopting Bitcoin, about relocation tours, about El Salvador. Hi, Cesar. Nice to meet you. Because El Salvador is hopping. They just had, and in fact, this week, they have the Web Summit, which is tons and tons of investors from Invest in El Salvador, from, oh my goodness, Poblimóvil was there. All these really high profile hub, Impact Hub, I think, was running this Web Summit, all about investment in El Salvador, all about how to get in now while it is just starting to take off, because it looks like the sky is the limit, and it's awesome. Thanks. Okay, that is it. If you have any other questions about coming to El Salvador, about you want us to help you put together the perfect package, my husband's contact number, go to livinlikealocal.com, and there's no G, it's livin' like a local. It's on it's the channel name here, and it's also down below, livinlikealocal.com. If you just go in there and you send in an email, you'll talk to Bessie. Bessie will find out what information that you need, and she'll either get you connected with my husband. If you have legal questions, you can book a legal call with him. It's $60 an hour, or you can just type in your information and Bessie will send back whatever you need. If you want to put a package together, if you want to, hey, I want to do these spa treatments and I want Bitcoin tickets too, and I want you to get me a place to stay, and I want a driver for 2 days, and I want whatever. I want meals for 3 days. Bessie can put all that together. But just know that, I mean, we don't do tourism. Like if you want to go necessarily see a volcano, we can outsource you to a tour guide. We don't really do tourism. We do typically relocation and just the medical tourism. Because that's a little bit more touchier than normal tourism of, oh, let's just go visit a volcano, let's just go, surfing or something like that. Medical tourism it's a little bit touchier, because you don't want to try and do something in a foreign country and then have it go bad or lose something in translation. So we started that service in order to make sure we have providers that are certified, they speak English, they understand first world standards, and they are also currently giving back to the community, because that's a very big, important part. Great, best season to travel. Honestly, now. It's dry season now. So the rainy season goes from May until the beginning of November. So So during the dry season is the best time to travel to El Salvador. I can tell you though, December is right now it's pretty busy because of all the Bitcoiners. November is busy just because of all the Bitcoiners kind of being there. And December is busy just because that's when it's vacation time. The schools in El Salvador stop at the beginning. They get out at the beginning of November. And so all the kids are on break November, December, January. So it can be a little crazy and a little packed at various locations around the country because, people have an excuse to get out because the kids are and the school's out. If you want to have it, I guess, as empty as possible so you can get around, then I'd say start February because school gets back in February. So if you come February through February to May, February, March, April, especially if you're going to do Ruta de las Flores, February is the best time for Ruta de las Flores. That's when all the flowers are blooming. That's what I would say would be the best season to travel, Sonia. I hope that helps. But if you're looking to invest and buy, come now because things are only going up. I don't think it's gonna go down at all. And with the changes in the US, I think that's even less so. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna make things go down either in El Salvador because unfortunately we are connected because we use the US dollar as our currency in El Salvador. So fiscal changes in the US do impact us. That's why you go Bitcoin. Just saying. That's it for this live. If you have any questions, hit Living Like a Local. I am Jenny Ari, La Gringa Salvadoreña, shining my light so you can shine yours. If you've got questions, just hit the website. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.